Oppositions are really powerful planetary alignments that create tension and resistance between the two planets involved. There is this dynamic force that's pulling and pushing between the two planets. And an opposition is really kind of like a tug of war that's taking place on a scale. So there's balance that's needed, but there takes a lot of back and forth to really achieve that equilibrium, especially if one side is more dominant than the other. And this is kind of like that law of physics, the Newton's third law of motion, where for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's like these two sides are opposed, but they're also very deeply connected, and one can't happen without triggering the other side. So by definition, an opposition is, simply put, a strong disagreement. So in the context of astrology, when two planets are opposed, they are disagreeing with each other. So let's break this down using one of the most polarizing oppositions in astrology, the Saturn-Mars opposition. On August 9th, 2025, there will be a Saturn-Mars opposition. Both planets are malefic, meaning their influence and nature is to harm, to challenge things. And their guna is tamasic, meaning they are motivated to survive rather than thrive. And at their highest capacity, Saturn and Mars are hardworking. They're motivated, they're focused and disciplined. But that's really where the similarities end. Mars is a fighter, a warrior, and is the commander-in-chief in the cosmic court. He's impulsive, he's energetic and active. It's really intense. Mars is hot like fire, while Saturn is the servant. He's old, he's slow and steady and very consistent. Saturn is cold like air. So when these two energies are used with courage and responsibility, almost anything is possible. Having the courage to take on something that also requires integrity and humility takes a lot of effort to initiate, but then also to maintain that. So to better understand how Mars and Saturn interact, we can look at the signs where they are able to express their nature in their truest form. See, Mars becomes exalted in the Saturn-ruled sign of Capricorn, while Saturn becomes debilitated in the Mars-ruled sign of Aries. So this is very interesting. The focus and courageous nature of Mars thrives in that practical and structured environment of Capricorn. However, Saturn's cautious and service-driven nature has a really hard time expressing itself in that independent and impulsive environment of Aries. And what's interesting about this is both planets are natural enemies. They exist in two different camps. Saturn, Mercury, and Venus are on one side, while Mars, Moon, Jupiter, and the Sun are on the other side. So naturally, these two planets create tension with each other, but when they are in opposition, it magnifies this energy. So oppositions in a chart activate this dynamic tension and resistance between the two planets, and they kind of challenge the nature of the opposing side wherever it's lacking those qualities. Saturn brings limitation and restriction, while Mars is bringing that courage and initiative. So right now, Mars is in Virgo and Saturn is in Pisces, and they're very tightly aspecting each other, meaning they're both within the same degree. They're both sitting at 7 degrees in their signs. Now, these two signs, Pisces and Virgo, are on an axis. They're dual signs, and they're also feminine signs. So this means their energies are adaptive and intuitive. There is really great potential for progress and change in these signs because that's the nature that they have. And they also are associated with the 6th and 12th houses. So this is the 6-12 axis, which deals with control and trust. It's about knowing when control is needed through order and process, but then also knowing when to let go and trust that some things just need that space to grow. We all have this axis in our chart. So the houses wherever Pisces and Virgo sit is going to be where this hidden layer of trust and control show up in your life. This is really important because right now this Mars and Saturn opposition are going to be bringing those very themes to the surface in whatever area of life Pisces and Virgo's influence in your chart. So for example, if you are a Leo ascendant, Virgo and Pisces are running your 2-8 axis. That's your second house and your 8th house. This is the axis of independence and fear, money and attachments, speech and insecurities. So this hidden layer of trust and control will show up in those areas of life. Now, how it shows up will all depend on all the other factors in your chart. But overall, that's this hidden layer that can be seen. And this is for all the ascendants. See wherever Virgo and Pisces are in your chart, and it's going to be activating this. So another example is the Sagittarius ascendant. You have Pisces and Virgo in your 4-10 axis of home and career, personal and public life. It's your axis of reputation and recognition. It's also where you take things personally and where you want recognition for your actions. So running through this area of life is this dynamic force of trust and control. So let's think about Mars and Saturn. What do they mean individually? Mars is this impulsive, go, go, go energy. And Saturn is this reserved and cautious. It's this delayed kind of motion. And this opposition could feel quite jarring. So it's kind of like going 80 miles an hour down the road and slamming on the brakes. So all of a sudden there is this need to try to control a situation more, or perhaps it's time to trust the process and allow for more flow. Those are the kind of situations that can arise during this Mars-Saturn opposition in the houses where Virgo and Pisces are. So this is all symbolic, of course, but it's meant to make you think more about your actions, right? Being more observant in daily life, how you behave, and thinking about these themes as you live life, right? And there's so many transits always taking place, and it's hard to really see any kind of impact or significance if you're not paying attention, right? If you're not looking for it, then you might not find it. And that's really what astrology is about, is that it's giving you this sense of awareness, and it's just really good to think and contemplate on these types of things, what your actions, what consequences your actions have, how hard you're trying to control a situation, or where you need to be more relaxed. That's really what's being brought up here with this Mars and Saturn opposition. So Mars is in Virgo, it's activating this fight for control, and Saturn is in Pisces, activating this reservation in your growth. So both planets have this different motive, and it's all about harnessing the best of what each planet brings in your chart and not letting one overpower the other. If you find yourself hitting roadblocks, think about how you can calibrate your control with trust, and then most importantly with your own intuition.